Social media, as we talked about, can be a toxic landmine, everything from predators to bullying, taunts, spreading rumors. Does it surprise you that nations are now taking some very concrete steps to keep kids away from their phones, laptops, tablets, whatever it takes to keep them from social media?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. I think we have seen a global teen mental health crisis, which has been driven in large part by social media use. We've seen an epidemic of sexual exploitation happening online over social media, cyberbullying. There are so many serious harms that are related to social media use. And so it's not surprising to me that regulators and legislators and parents have had enough, and they're looking for solutions that actually protect children.
Kids are clever, so give me a thumbnail sketch of what various countries are doing and early reports on how it is affecting young people and ways they are going to ensure that kids don't get around these new mandates.
Well, I think these mandates are new, and so we need to give them a little bit of time to play out and see how they are actually enforced, and see how they deal with things like kids using VPNs to get around the bans. And I think, one thing is the more we see this happen globally, I think the more effective these will be because it won't just be on a country by country basis. But I think it's really important to understand that many countries, including the United States, where I am based, have tried to solutions that aren't as drastic as bans, have tried solutions that would require these social media companies to design their platforms to be safer, to protect children's privacy, to not addict them. And what we've seen is that every turn, the companies like Meta and TikTok have lobbied against these laws and blocked them. So it's not surprising to me that people are turning to bans when the social media companies are preventing legislation that would require their platforms to be safer and less addictive.
Yeah, and let's not forget here in the first year of the Trump administration, almost every big gathering, front and center, have been all these big heavyweights in the tech field. And we know that AI, the developers of that are also working to keep kids because it can be a lot of fun to make pictures move, do things like that. But what can be done to really get a handle on this? And are AI companies doing enough?
AI companies are absolutely not doing enough. We are seeing what happened with social media repeat itself in real time, but in ways that are perhaps even more concerning than social media. What we have is a race to the bottom, a race to addict kids by any means possible, with no thought about safety. We have chatbots that have encouraged kids to die by suicide. We have had chatbots who have encouraged kids to murder their parents. And these technologies should never have been unleashed on children without a guarantee that they would be safe, which they can't guarantee. So I think it's really, we know we cannot trust these companies. We know that all they care about is their bottom line and profits, and that the more kids use their products, whether it's AI or social media, the more money they make. And so that's why it's up to regulators, legislators, to hold these companies accountable and change the rules. Because if we just leave it to self-regulation, as I said, it will be a race to the bottom every single time.
And what about China? Because I know several years ago, the government there made an effort to keep kids from using their phones more than like 2 or 3 hours per week. How is China handling this? Because you go there and everybody's on his or her phone.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of insight to what it looks like on a day-to-day basis in China. I do think what's interesting is that the version of TikTok that Chinese kids get is very different than the version that American kids get. And so a lot more educational content, a lot less mindless, addictive content, no notifications overnight, limits on how much kids can use it during a day. And so I think it's very interesting that TikTok, which until just a few days ago was a Chinese company, or
ByteDance, yeah.
was ByteDance that the version of TikTok looks so much different and so much less harmful in China than the version we get here in the United States.
Okay, what about parents and educators? Because obviously they have a great deal at stake in this. How are they embracing this?
I think, one of the things that's really been interesting is that educators have gotten really concerned about the impact of kids who are online all day, including in class. and scrolling through social media. And so we've seen it here in the United States. We've seen a huge sea change where almost half the states in the United States have now banned cell phones for the entire school day. So I think that we're seeing a real change. I also think with parents, what you're seeing parents say is, please, government, we need help.
Yeah.
We do not have the time or ability to track everything that our kids are doing online, especially when they are on 5, 6, 7, 8 platforms a day, and the platforms deliberately make it confusing for parents to try and protect their kids and put on those more protective settings. So I think if you look at polling data, among educators, among parents, among public health professionals, you see a overwhelming majority wanting restrictions on social media companies and how they interact with kids.